right. Hi, everyone. Tiffany Bosch here with the Through the Branches podcast, brought to you by Beyond the Horizon Consulting. And I'm going to throw it to my co-host to introduce himself.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's Dustin Dale, CEO, founder of Beyond the Horizon Consulting, Dustin Dale motivational speaker. And it's very fun times we're in, a very fun time. I was trying to figure out how I want to say that. We're in a very fun time because we have a great guest coming on today, and what she's involved with is even funner. Made up word for us. So I'm going to kick it over to our great guest, let her introduce herself, and we're going to dive right in.
Thank you. My name is Savannah Wagener, so I'm the event coordinator at the LPGA Dana Open. We're really excited for our 40th anniversary this year, so you might know us as the Jamie Farr Classic and then the Marathon Classic after that, but yeah, we're thrilled for our 40th anniversary.
How many people come in here or come through the gates and still call it the Jamie Farr, like percentage-wise?
Tons.
Like that brand is still there.
A good, 10 to 15%. We get phone calls all the time asking for the Jamie Farr Classic, so it's nice though, and he's going to be 90 this year, and we're inviting him back, so hopefully he can join us.
That's amazing. And I know Dana's jumped in there. You work a lot with the big sponsors. So can you kind of shed some light on some of those sponsors? Obviously, Dana's involved, but others that you can see out there for the tournament this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Dana has been a phenomenal partner, and they've been around with us since the beginning, and really grateful to have them back as title sponsor this year. A ton of other great community partners that you'll see out there. So Owens Corning is the title sponsor of our Women's Leadership Summit. So that event will be on June 20th. We have an evening with Jim Nance, which will be sponsored by Cisco, and that's also in early June. When you're out at the course, we have our Clubhouse Courtyard, and that's sponsored by Inside the Five Brewing. So a ton of great community support and cool businesses to see out there.
Yeah,
It's cool. At Inside the Five on not too long ago.
Yeah.
So it's very cool to see that.
Yeah.
So lots of community partners, lots of support. How long does something like this take to plan? Do you have a break at all, or is it, it ends and it starts right back up again?
Yeah, it's really ends and it starts right back up. So we have a pretty small staff, but full-time, 3 and a couple part-time workers, but we work year-round. So once the tournament ends, we get a little bit of downtime and a little time off, and then we really gear back up for the beginning. Our year-end is in the fall, so we'll start sales for the next year and kind of just keep it moving.
Okay.
So when do you take a vacation?
Here and there.
Here and there?
I did take a vacation last month, so we do get some time off.
I have weekends off.
Yeah.
Who does that?
Weekends except in the summer.
Yes.
So Women's Summit, that's relatively new. What was the drive behind Women's Leadership Summits?
Yeah, so our Women's Leadership Summit was started, actually it's been a handful of years now. So they started it when the Solheim was coming into town. So I help with it, but we have a really fantastic steering committee of 35 volunteers that are, women in the community working for all of these fantastic businesses. And they started it when Solheim was coming a few years before that, with the intention of growing it each and every year and kind of creating a following for that event. And it's grown so much. We have, 700 to 800 women, Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan, that show up. Phenomenal keynote speakers. Last year we had Cint Marshall, the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks. This year we'll have Reshma Saujani, and she is the founder and former CEO of Girls Who Code, so encouraging young girls to get into the STEM field and closing that gap in the tech sector. So some really interesting discussions will be had at that event, and we're excited for it.
Can I sneak in?
Yeah,
I want to hear that keynote. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate to attend, and the women in that room and the women who lead that summit are powerhouses. Mm-hmm. I sit there with my jaw hanging open like, wow. Yeah. And the steering committee, I'm assuming most are from the Toledo area and around here, so they're really driving a lot of leadership and development to our women, and there's women of all ages there too, so that's awesome. I love that the Dana Open has been able to partner on that and grow that. And the Solheim, can we throw it back to the Solheim? Wow.
Yeah. Toledo showed out for that.
So, yes, that was a phenomenal golf tournament. It was my first one that I attended.
It's a good first one to go to.
It was. Awesome. Yeah, it was. So bar is set very high, but I still go to the Dana Open every year. After that, it's been amazing too. But talk about, if you can, the impact that the Solheim brought to Toledo and our region.
Yeah, I think it added to the interest. I mean, I'll speak just for our tournament. I think the Solheim is exciting. It's very Olympic-esque in how they promote it and put it on, and the energy that's there and at Inverness. And I mean, the crowds that came out were phenomenal, especially coming out right after COVID. So I think it piqued a lot of people's interest, and I think it got people really excited about the game of golf and what it can look like. And even if you're not a golfer, you can still come out and you can enjoy the tournament. So I think in terms of the Dana Open, it kind of got people excited about the game again.
Yeah, I think the game is growing. Dustin, you're smiling at me. I feel like you have some things to add in. I've cut you off. I'm just excited about the planning.
Yes, I was going to say, one of the cool things, so I live right in Sylvania. So I remember when I was going on, I could barely pull out of my driveway. And it was so cool. Yeah. Like, just to not be able to pull out my driveway. Mm-hmm. And normally any other day that would aggravate me. But this day I was like, that is cool to see people in our community here, seeing all the great things, all the local businesses, the food, the drinks. So that's why I grin, because I love when events go to places that really make an impact in the community. And so I'm excited for more.
Yeah, absolutely.
A huge impact. I know I've been fortunate to see some of the numbers, but can you share some of those numbers of the economic impact it's had on our region, the Dana Open for?
Yeah, millions and millions of dollars in the community that our tournament in the Solheim on a whole nother level. But, the Dana Open, just in terms of, hotels, people traveling into the area, all the restaurants and the business that the tournament brings in and all of the spectators. And, when people are in the area and they're excited and the weather's great and they're out and doing things, it's really, it's great for us, but it's great for Sylvania and Toledo and everyone around there too. So really proud of what we can do to, help the region, I guess. Yeah.
I got a fun question. How many hot dogs do you think get ate during a golf tournament?
So many. And I think, gosh, that has to be one of our most popular concession items. The Pinnacle is our catering company, and they do all of our concessions.
They're fantastic.
Our Sunday is Family Day, presented by Directions Credit Union, and we do buy one, get one hot dogs. So
I'll be there.
we go through a lot.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
That'll be great. So with it being the 40th anniversary, what are some fun and new things or opportunities for everyone out there this year?
Absolutely. We're really a mix of a couple things. So we're really focused on the history this year, and I love going back, and Hart right now is working on our tournament spot, our commercial, so I'm excited when that's finally going to get to air. But, we're focusing on the history. We've been around since 1984, so a lot of cool things coming. A couple things specifically, we're going to do a throwback tournament t-shirt. So the 1995 logo, when it was the Jamie Farr Classic, we'll be selling those hopefully on sale early May. So we'll have that out there. We're going to do a tournament poster. So back in the day, we used to do these annual tournament souvenir posters, and this year we're going to bring those back again. So excited for those two things. And then kind of this newer platform that we're putting out this year for our 40th anniversary is Champions for Children. So we have 5 awesome children's charities that we're supporting this year, and kind of building on that 4-decade commitment to improving children's health in the region by launching Champions for Children and, introducing a couple patient champions is what we're calling them. We have 6 kids from local children's hospitals, Nationwide Children's in Toledo, and then ProMedica eBide Children's Hospital. So we'll be showcasing their stories at the tournament, and they'll be out there, and excited to meet all of the spectators and fans.
I think what's cool is you mentioned Hart. So Mike's a good friend of mine, and I love even seeing how you guys incorporate local businesses to help promote this as well. So I know with Hart on it, this thing's going to look phenomenal. Yeah. So I'm stoked to see that. Very cool.
Yeah, they do a really great job. So Hart they do our commercial spots, and then we work with Communique, and they do all of our print advertising and our program book, and they do a really phenomenal job. And then we also work with Thread Marketing, and they help with our Women's Summit marketing materials. So there's, like you said, just so much talent out there, and it's awesome for us as an organization to be able to work with everyone.
Takes a village. That's what they say.
For sure.
Yeah, very cool.
And lots of supporting local. The children that are involved this year, there was that fun thing that was kind of plugged of one of the little guys being able to tee off. Is it first? Is it for Media Day? When is this little guy going to tee off? He was so excited at Media Day.
Yeah, He's a golfer. So Grayson is one of our patient champions, and he's local from Perrysburg. All of the kids are local. But he's a big golf fan and a golfer, so we're excited to have him hit the first tee shot. So he'll come out on Thursday morning before all the tee times, and he'll hit the first tee shot, and then we'll go off with the LPGA pros.
That's so cool. That's a moment he'll never forget.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
Was
awesome.
he surprised at the media day? Was that a surprise for
Yes,
him?
it
Because he
was.
was like, raised his hand, was like, yes!
Yeah.
And so,
Wait, that's me.
yeah, it was really cute. So I love that you guys are focusing on that. You always give to the charity. So over the years, I mean, hundreds of charities have been impacted by this tournament. And was that Jamie Farr's kind of mission with the tournament and the goal? Can you speak on that at all?
Yeah, so it started when the tournament started in 1984, it was Ronald McDonald House Charities that, the owners and operators of McDonald's underwrote the tournament, and we lost money. And then the next year we raised money, but since then it's been, and Judd, our executive director, tells the story much better than I do, but they were a benefiting charity since the beginning, and it was their idea that we should really spread the love and the money around to other charities in the community. So it started with Ronald McDonald House Charities, and then kind of grew from there to us selecting a handful each year to really, spread the love.
You are a subject matter expert. I love that.
I know. You can throw everything at her.
Yes.
It's like, okay.
I would try to think of a hard question, but I don't know.
So you have a small team. You work under Judd. How long have you been a part of the team for the Toledo Classic?
Yeah, so a couple years now. I interned in 2022, and then last year was my first tournament full time. So interned for a summer, and then I came back and I was a graduate assistant here at UT, and then started full time in December of 2022 then for that 2023 tournament. So this will only be my second tournament full time, and it's been a blast. The staff is phenomenal. Judd founded the tournament in 1984 and has been here since the beginning. Mike and Heather at our office, Jim, like they have been around so long, and they know what they're doing. They're awesome.
So are you a golfer? Do you actually golf?
No, I did. I went on vacation a month ago, and my family, we did a 9-hole par 3, and I swing and I miss the ball, or I swing and I shank it into the water. So not a good golfer.
But you can coordinate an amazing tournament, so that's all that matters,
exactly.
right? You're not teeing off. It's okay. Some leadership questions. Dustin, I'm going to throw it to you. You got one up your sleeve?
I do.
Okay.
So thinking back from like your internship of sort of having that, we'll say safety net, right? Because I've had interns in the past, and you kind of create a safety net. What's a big leadership lesson you've learned moving from the internship into this is yours now? Like what could you give to the members listening, like that one nugget of wisdom that you learned moving from intern to full-time?
Yeah, I think it's really, and I was super lucky. So my boss when I was an intern, Paige Ottaviano, she was phenomenal and gave me a lot of autonomy in the work that I did. And I think that's really helpful as bosses to make sure that your interns and your staff feel like they can do what they need to do and do it the way they want to do it. And then when I transitioned from intern to full-time, gosh, it was nice because I had gotten, a picture of what everything was kind of supposed to look like you said, kind of safety net. And then jumping into full time, it's different, but I love it. But I think just being willing to go out and figure out how to do things. There were so many things when I started that, and still now, that I've never done before, but there's so many people in the community that will help you and answer your questions, and so many people that I know that I can call, and I think that's really helpful. So making some awesome connections, asking really great questions, and just looking it up and figuring it out and learning as you go. And I think when you make mistakes, it's not the end of the world. And if I need to figure out how to do something, I YouTube it with no shame. So
I just want to take a word out of Tiffany's book. We're going to throw it back to what you just said. Kudos to you, Tiffany.
Yeah.
We're going to throw it back to where you said, empower your team, even whether it's intern, full-time, executive, no matter what, empower to make decisions. So, and honestly too, you can see you are empowered just based on today's conversation. It's like fluid, you're quick, you know what's going on. So that is super cool to see that leadership, that mentorship. And I guess a secondary question, what was that mentorship kind of leadership how did it impact you far past your job? Did it impact your mindset, how you think about life and attack it?
Yeah, definitely. It changed a lot of things for me. And I think for me, when I interned, it was to get experience and try something different. But I never really pictured myself in the sports industry, let alone the golf industry. I mean, as I said, I'm not really a golfer. So I think the position is unique in a way where you don't have to know. I mean, I've learned so much about golf and I'm a lot better now. But, my boss, when I started, like I said, just gave me the ability to do all of these things and trusted me to make decisions and get things done. And I think that that's really helpful. And I'm not going to lie, I did forget.
No, you answered it actually.
Yeah.
You answered it within the question. So
Okay.
No, that was awesome.
I was like, I'm going off on a tangent.
No, that's life.
That's part of the podcast
Yes.
here.
I took 3 tangent roads on the way here just because I was thinking of other stuff. So you're good. But no, I think what you said was really good, especially for our listeners and the young entrepreneurs too. So we have such a cool mix of people who listen to the show. You have the experienced ones who have been around doing it for a while. And then you have the younger ones who are eager and want to get after it. So having you, for those who aren't watching, a younger female leader out there crushing it, giving the words of advice, like I can't encourage that enough to find that mentor or a leadership figure as soon as possible because it really does impact your life. So we give you a fist bump. You answered it well.
Thanks.
Good job.
You just want a boom. Okay, Brad, if you could throw that in like a boom.
Special effects.
Yeah. No, I think that builds on your team. You said you have a small team at the Toledo Classic running the Dana Open, and there must be a lot of trust. And, you've had 1 year under your belt, and Judd speaks very highly of you. I've been in the room with him, and he's like, yeah, like you got this. And it's great to see someone who has produced this tournament now for 40 years, giving trust, handing it over, which isn't easy. Clearly this is like his baby and operating it's like a business owner. But he has trusted you, and you guys have done a phenomenal job to grow it, to keep the community engaged. And happy. I don't know. I mean, you bog up traffic for a day in Savannah. I love it. I'm sorry.
I'm cool with it. I charge for parking now. I don't. Let me disclaim that.
You're not one of those homes.
I don't want TPD or Savannah police coming to my yard.
Is that not a thing? Are you not allowed to do that?
I don't know. Residential. I'm not sure.
No, it's your yard. I don't know.
Well, now I am charging.
But I think it's great, the number of people that show up. I mean, you're looking at nearly 30,000 people come to Sylvania, support Northwest Ohio to see the women golfing, and have done it very well for 40 years. So it's exciting to me. I love the golf tournament. I'm getting into golf. I'm not that great. But it's fun to see that and all the women involved. They're great.
Yeah. Talk about wins. We just had the eclipse, right? Sylvania and Toledo had great benefit from that. New visitors. And then now we're going to have 30,000 more people coming through. Like, just really good wins this year. So very cool.
So if you had to give anybody a piece of advice for the tournament to show up, what would that be? Is there a menu item? Is there a specific day?
Yeah, 2-for-1 hot dogs. We talked about that.
2-for-1 hot. I'm coming that day.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, gosh. Family Day, I would say, is awesome. So that Family Day is free admission for families, buy one, get one hot dogs, free parking. So I would say that Sunday is so fun. I mean, that's when the closing ceremony, the winner, the trophy presentation, you get to see it all come together. So I would say, Sunday is my favorite day of the week, but it's also kind of neat to come. So our gates open on Tuesday, and those are practice rounds. So if you want to come out and get autographs from the players and try to get a little more one-on-one time with these LPGA pros who are phenomenal players, but also just people. I mean, they're so personable and so interactive with the kids and the families and all the fans. So I would say come out on Tuesday, come out for the practice rounds, and check out, get some. It's not crazy busy out there on Tuesday. You can kind of come in, do your thing, scope out the course, find all the best spots. But yeah.
Now, do you see a lot of people tracking one golfer and kind of following them, or do they stay put to see everybody?
There's a mix. So we have a lot of hospitality structures around 18 greens. So you'll see a lot of people kind of hanging out and milling around about there. But a lot of people follow, their favorite players or the players that are hot. That final group that comes in on Sunday, who's ever kind of holding the leaderboard, we get a ton of people following those. We had, Mia Hammond, who is from Columbus, an amateur. She was either 15 or 16 years old last year. She won the qualifier. She came in, did phenomenal in the tournament, made the cut. She had, dozens of people from Columbus come down and follow her. Whenever I saw Mia on a hole, there was a crowd there following her. So it kind of depends. And I think if you have a favorite player, it's fun to watch them for a couple holes in a row.
Now, is she coming back again? I don't know how that all works.
She is. So we are giving Mia a sponsor exemption this year. So she'll be out at the tournament and hoping that, and she's semi-local. She's Ohio. So we're hoping that'll bring out the crowds. But she's a phenomenal person, and we're really excited to have her.
Those hospitality suites are awesome, too. Growing up in North Carolina, I don't even think it's called this anymore, but it used to be called the Greater Greensboro Classic. And Jim Furyk was one of my favorite players, and, he's kind of in the senior tour now. But what was cool is you would follow him, and then every venue he would go to or every hole he would go to, there would be like this great sponsorship, and you would get a ton of free swag. So my question to you, of course, is there some good swag up for grabs this year that people could look forward to?
Yeah, there is. So Tito's is our vodka sponsor, and they do come out on...
Oh, say no more.
Yeah, they'll be here. They'll be here Saturday and
call
Sunday.
out another guest that we had on here. If you're listening, you're welcome.
Everyone loves Tito's. How can you not? But they'll pass out swag on Saturday and Sunday of tournament week, which is always really fun. Yeah.
I think it's good to interject. Nobody calls off on Monday after the tournament, okay? Make sure we're back to work.
Unless you want to come help us clean up the course.
Yes.
Okay, volunteer-wise.
Yes.
What's the number of volunteers that you guys utilize in your board? I know you have committees. What's that volunteer structure like?
Yeah, so 800 to 900 volunteers. We get tons of community support, and we have volunteer chairmen that put together, so it kind of stacks up like the volunteer chairman, and they have directors for all their different committees, and then the volunteers themselves. But we have, like I said, like 800 to 900 volunteers that come out. A lot of them are from the charities that we support, people that love the tournament, people that have been around a long time. We have a handful of volunteers that have been there all 40 years, so that's pretty neat, and we're hoping to feature them this year.
That's cool. I think, so we've been talking about this, but for those who I hate to say this, might be hearing this for the first time about the tournament, like what are the dates and times, and kind of go through that schedule for us real quick. Because again, there might be somebody who's hearing this like, oh, what's going on? So what are the dates, times, and kind of can you outline an agenda for us a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So tournament rounds are July 18th to 21st. Our gates do open on July 16th. So like I said, that Tuesday, July 16th will be practice rounds. We do a Pro-Am at Inverness on Tuesday that Dana sponsors. On Wednesday will be kind of our official Pro-Ams. Our gates are open, and it's really fun to come out and see these companies that have teams of amateurs that are playing with the pros. You see a lot of people who are great and a lot of people who are not, so it's fun to come out and see, and everyone always has a great time. So Wednesday is the official Pro-Am, and then on Thursday our tournament rounds start. So Thursday is senior day presented by the Crescent. So ages 55 and up get in free, and then parking as well. Friday is always a really fun day. That's when our party deck is always super busy. So Friday's awesome. Saturday is the Blade day. So the Blade sponsors that for us. We usually bring out mascots at some point. We'll have a kids zone. And then Sunday, final round, like I've mentioned a couple of times, that family day presented by Directions Credit Union. And you get in free if you're with your family, and free parking. So BOGO hot dogs again. It's a win. And then, we'll be live on CBS on Sunday, which is really exciting. So from 2 to 4, I believe, and then trophy presentation and all that. But
so there's no reason not to go.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, that is super cool. Thanks for running through that. Like I said, want to make sure those who are maybe hearing this for the first time definitely get the rundown, and we'll capture that in the details too. But man, there's just so much good stuff. Like it's almost hard to wrap your head around. What do I go to? Or just go to all of it.
Yeah.
So how do tickets work? Can you go to all of it? Is it per day? walk us through ticket options.
Yeah, so different options. And this year we're switching. So if you're a long-time attendee, we're switching to online ticketing. So we're using SeatGeek, and all info is on our website, but it's kind of a range. So we do sell weekly tickets, but we also sell any day, where you can just pick one day of the week that you want to attend, but different options. We have grounds tickets, which just gets you into the grounds and, walking the area. We have some upgraded structures that you can purchase tickets to. So our clubhouse courtyard is an awesome shaded structure right outside 18 Green. So great views of that final hole. We have our party deck, which is also always tons of fun. That's a separate ticket in and of itself, but included beer and wine and snacks in that ticket. So some different options depending on what you're looking for, and you can really customize it based on which day you want to go, or do you want to come the full week and get a little bit of a better deal on the ticket.
And you still have to be quiet. And when you're on the party deck, you have to watch the volunteers.
Yes.
And you don't get yelled at.
Yeah.
We do have the marshals with the quiet signs, and they'll tell you.
Yeah. Yes, they do. From experience. They will yell at you.
We'll have to dive deeper into that another time, Tiffany.
Yeah. I'm loud. I don't think anybody listening was like, oh, yeah, Tiff's the quiet one. No, I'm chatty and loud and don't pay attention to a sign that comes up until they're glaring at you with it. No, that's phenomenal. I think the Dana Open brings so much to Sylvania, and we're thrilled to have it, thrilled to host it. We've been a part of it as the chamber, and bring out members and give tickets away. It's just a really nice thing for our businesses. So
when you have 800 to 900 volunteers, and you have smaller numbers at top with leadership, one thing I love to dive into is communication. So I just read a case study that was done last year that communication costs an average of $15,000 per employee when not done correctly, right? So think about the cost of that. So how do you guys ensure communication is at its utmost importance, it's communicated correctly? How do you guys tackle that from a leadership side?
Yeah, I think the key to that for us is that we have some really phenomenal engaged volunteer chairmen. So, Heather Warga is our volunteer coordinator, and she's been around for 20 plus years and does a phenomenal job. And then this group of volunteer chairmen that she works really closely with, they have been around a long time. They love the tournament. They're so excited about it. So we have so much trust in them to then communicate to their directors and below them, the volunteers themselves. So I think that we have a great group of people who's quite honestly just really good at it.
Yeah.
We do have, our system. When you do register to volunteer, we kind of track everyone's emails and can send communication out that way as well. Emails kind of hit or miss with whether or not people open it, but I think the key is that having a volunteer chairman that then has those directors, that they have personal connections with all of these volunteers, they have their phone numbers, they can call them, they can chat. It really is just a great community that we have.
Yeah.
Can I call out one of your volunteers? I don't know how long he's been there, but Jim Heller.
Oh, yes.
Jim Heller
Fantastic.
is fantastic. And I know, he's brought on individuals just to help him. So at some point there might be that leadership. I don't know what's all publicly discussed or anything, but you can see him looking at young professionals saying, come work with me, come see how this all operates. 'Cause he works the whole media room, which is very intimidating also to walk into.
It's a big job, and Jim has been around a really long time and has been fantastic. And like you mentioned, he's bringing in these younger professionals, Chandler Fitzgerald and then Adam Simpson. He's kind of bringing them under his wing for the media room, and it's awesome because you're not going to stay in the same position forever. Eventually, at some point, you're going to transition into something else. So I think it's important in any volunteer role, in any position, especially when you're passionate about it and you love what you do, you're going to move on to something else eventually. So I think having a bit of a backup plan with, what's the legacy you want to leave? Do you want to have something that transitions really smoothly and, give some tips and tricks to the newbies before you head out? And I think that's the great thing about our volunteer chairman, and Jim especially, is that when he no longer has the time, which I hope never comes, that he can support us in this way. He's got thoughts on who can kind of pick it up after him.
I think what's cool, before we wrap up with our final question,
Dun-dun-dun.
I think what's cool is, just again, sitting next to you, seeing you, telling and knowing that you're younger. I think what's really cool is those younger members that are listening to this. The world is limitless in terms of career opportunities and what you can do. And so hopefully if there is a younger individual that's like, yeah, I'm still not sure of my career path, I'm still guessing or still wanting to know, this might be an opportunity to try it on. And just like yourself, go from that internship to full-time and being the boss lady, getting it done, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome and a good opportunity for many listening.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, final question.
Bum, bum, bum.
I know we need some
Dramatic
sound.
Darth Vader
Yeah.
music.
Yes. What does leadership mean to you?
That is a good question.
We don't tell anybody that it's coming. So
Is that what you end every podcast
Yeah.
with?
Yep.
Yep.
I should have watched some of the other ones that I would have been tipped off.
That's okay. Oh yeah. We can't tell any guests to listen
Right.
beforehand.
But just watch.
What does leadership mean to me? I think it's a mix of, I think, being confident in yourself and the work that you can do. I think when you're comfortable and confident and you know that the job you're doing is the best that you can do, I think it makes you an awesome leader. When you go into something and you want to give 110% and you refuse to submit something if it's not done perfectly. I mean, I'm organized to a T, I think pretty meticulous in that front. So I think having that kind of background.
It's good. Keep going. You're on the right path.
Yeah.
You're
No,
on
this
it.
is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, having that, the autonomy and the background, and I think all of that is really important. But I've been really blessed by having some awesome leaders that have impacted me in great ways. And I think that, having those mentors and those people that are great leaders to you, I think you can learn a lot from them and how you are a leader yourself.
Oh, love it.
Great answer. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that is spot on. And I think you hit on your skills and being very organized, and knowing that as one of your strong suits makes you a better leader because you know your skills and what you're good at. And then you said, having those leaders around you, you're putting yourself around those women at the Women's Summit, Judd, and the whole team to really grow your leadership skills. And you're doing a phenomenal job. So kudos to you. You're a young professional killing it. And I'm proud to say that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have today. We'll be joining another guest in a couple weeks, but always be sure to subscribe to the Through the Branches podcast. And thank you to Beyond the Horizon Consulting and Aplo Multimedia Group for their support of our podcast. And thank you, Savannah, for being here today.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate
Awesome
it.
interview. We'll see y'all soon.
Painless.